Good morning, everyone. I hope everybody grabs some excellent food. Feel free to enjoy as we continue. We're having a Hamish morning here, but a celebratory one. I'm Carla Goldman. My pronouns are she and her, and I direct the Jewish Communal Leadership Program here at the Michigan School of Social Work. And we're going to start with a few greetings from our institutional leaders here who support our work and our students in really profound and important ways. So first we're going to have the Dean of the School of Social Work, Beth Angel, who's the Philip Fellon Collegiate Professor of Social Work. She'll be followed by Maya Barzilai, who is the Director of the Frankel Center for Judaic Studies at the University of Michigan and a Professor of Hebrew Literature and Jewish Cultures. And then we'll have another small introduction after that. So thank you. Dean Angel.
Thank you, Carla, and thank you so much for leading us and organizing this really special celebration today. Welcome, everyone. I'm so happy to be with you. This is a really special day. And I'm very honored to be serving as the dean of our fabulous, sometimes we don't like to say number one, but I'll say it anyway, our fabulous School of Social Work. And I'm really thrilled to be here with all of you, our graduates, Ben and Marie, and your families and friends and special guests. The Jewish Communal Leadership Program has been an integral part of the school for a long time now, and we're really pleased to be celebrating what I understand to be our 13th graduating class this year. So Ben and Marie, I want to, since we're a small but mighty group, I can kind of address you individually. I want to congratulate you both for earning your MSW degrees and your certificates in Jewish communal leadership. I think it's important to acknowledge that you've had to complete your studies and earn your degree at a really challenging time, a time in which Jewish students have felt very marginalized and very fearful. It's been a painful 2 semesters, and I appreciate the ways that your entire cohort of students has stepped up, committing yourselves to building and sustaining community, exercising critical thinking, and holding space for diverse perspectives. You also reached out to support other Jewish students who have struggled without having the kind of scaffold we provide through this program. And you've maintained your voices and your concern for those suffering on more than one side over the past 6 months of this very tragic conflict. We appreciate the conversations and the perspectives that you've brought to our community, and we're proud to be able to support a program that seeks to strengthen both our students as individual future leaders and also the broader communities that you're a part of. You've achieved so much in a particularly challenging 2-year period through your field placements, your social work courses, and your Judaic studies courses, and the knowledge and the experience that you have obtained and the connections that you've made. And I've heard about some of those connections, and I'm really excited to see them further. They'll prove to be essential to you as you move forward to your next step in the journey. We proudly send you both out into the world as leaders and future social workers. We know that you'll do incredible work to serve communities in need. And as we say here in the School of Social Work, reach out, raise hope, change society, and go blue. So.
Thank you, Carla, and good morning, everyone, and congratulations to the graduates themselves and their families and friends and partners. On behalf of the Frankel Center for Judaic Studies, I want to warmly congratulate the small but mighty 2024 cohort of the Jewish Community Leadership Program. Yes. You have completed a rigorous, richly experiential, and may I say, life-transforming 2 years of studies and training. The Jewish studies portion of your degree has allowed you to dive more deeply into the histories, societies, and cultures of Jewish communities across the globe. Moving between the School of Social Work and the Frankel Center for Judaic Studies, you have been exposed to a variety of methodologies and different types of learning environments. At the Frankel Center, you studied alongside our graduate certificate students who are completing PhDs in the humanities and social sciences. In the School of Social Work, you engage with MA students, or social, what do you call this degree? MSW students who plan to pursue different career, that just goes to show you where I'm from, who plan to pursue different career paths in education, counseling, and therapy, and so much more. And the thought behind this double degree is that the two paths will complement each other. But I am sure that their juxtaposition might have at times seemed jarring or challenging in different ways. And my hope is that you learned how to navigate among and within different groups. And you have come out of the JCLP program with an enhanced skill set and a broadened worldview. At the Frankel Center, my colleagues and I appreciate and admire the JCLPers who take our courses. You are astute, hardworking, and enthusiastic. You make our classrooms more lively and enjoyable, but you also model respectful discussion and debate. And most importantly, you have risen to the challenge of undertaking coursework in Judaic studies while also completing your program in social work. And I cannot overstate how much and how hard that is to do both at the same time. My colleagues and I are proud of your accomplishments and commend your perseverance during these intense years of study. The knowledge and skills that you attain in Jewish studies have allowed you to reflect on your present lives and future goals. And I know that your study of the languages, cultures, and histories of Jews and their neighbors is deeply interconnected to your practice as social workers who must contend with how different minority groups, including American Jews, navigate their complex identities, especially in these turbulent times that the dean has alluded to. You are also very fortunate to have Carla Goldman as your mentor and leader over these past 2 years of your degree. With her keen eye for nuance and her deep understanding of American Jewry, Dr. Goldman has played a central role in new initiatives within Judaic studies and across campus to combat hatred and divisiveness, especially as directed towards Jewish communities. I wish to take this opportunity to extend my sincere gratitude to Carla for her wise leadership of this program, her advocacy for the JCLP students, and her vision of collaboration across schools. Thank you, Carla. So allow me to end with something a little different. This is my translation of a Hebrew poem by one of my favorite poets, Natan Zach. It was also set to music by Ilan Würzberg and performed by Nurit Galaron in the 1980s, which really dates me, but I have, and you can listen to it later if you wish in Hebrew, but I will read to you in English. The poem begins with this simple and moving line: "We all need chesed," a term that's hard to translate, might be translated as kindness or mercy. Zach also writes, and I'm quoting, "We all want to give, very few know how." Perhaps throughout these years at the leadership program, you have asked yourself not only what does it mean to lead, but also what does it mean to give? Do you know how you want to give? How can you continue to give without allowing the giving to become a habit? And I'm going to read the poem. We all need chesed, loving kindness. We all need touch to obtain warmth, not with money, to obtain it as a caress, as you caress, to give without wanting to take, and not in a habitual way. Like the sun that rises, like the shadow that falls, Come and I'll show you a place where we can still take a breath. We all want to give, very few know how. You need to learn the lesson that happiness doesn't smile, that whatever was once given will never be taken away, that all this has a sense, even when the sense ceases. Come and I'll show you a place where daylight still shines. And it rhymes in Hebrew, so it sounds better, but I tried to maintain a little bit of that. Zach doesn't use the word hope, but this poem is about holding on to hope. It's about believing that all this has a meaning, a sense, a point, even when it feels like it doesn't. So even as you shuttled between classes and internships, I hope you also had the time to reflect on the significance of your work. We all know that happiness is a very serious business. It doesn't necessarily smile. At the Frankel Center, we believe in your powers of giving back in the years and decades to come. And I end by wishing you success and fulfillment as you navigate your next steps. Mazel tov and go blue.
Thanks so much, Professor Barzilai and Dean Angel, for those warm, meaningful welcomes. We have a special additional greeter today. Eileen Freed is an anchor of the Ann Arbor Jewish community. I think she models something that we talk about all the time in our discussions and our experiences, which is the power of relationship to create community. And she's very graciously here at this difficult time, but was especially appropriate since she really knows Ben and Marie very well.
So I don't think I should ever follow academics. Good morning. Dean Angel, thank you for your warm greeting. For just over 30 years, the University of Michigan School of Social Work has been the home of the Jewish Communal Leadership Program and its previous iterations, the Drockler Program and Project STAR. The strong, genuine support and friendship of the school's deans has contributed significantly to JCLP's success throughout its history. The program's partnership with the Frankel Center for Judaic Studies and its outstanding faculty, as represented beautifully today by Dr. Maya Barzilai, is another collaboration that has stood the test of time. The learning and support JCLP students receive from you and your colleagues are essential to the development of leaders who will serve and guide our Jewish communities with deep knowledge and context about the Jewish world. Carla, thank you for giving me the opportunity to say a few words in honor of our JCLP program and this year's graduates, as we've talked about small and mighty, Marie Patty and Ben Shovers, whom I've had the pleasure to get to know over the past 2 years. It's been said already, but it would be a gross understatement to say that this has been a challenging year. 211 days ago, Hamas perpetrated a brutal massacre, viciously murdering over 1,200 and kidnapping 252 innocent people. Over 130 hostages, some already dead, are still in captivity. The shock of this violence was compounded when activists in communities and on campuses around the world, I thought I touched something up there, sorry, around the country and on campuses around the world were seen celebrating the attack as a legitimate act of resistance, blaming the victims, among them babies, children, the elderly, and peace activists for having the audacity to live in Israel. Israel's response to October 7th was swift and harsh, resulting in significant loss of life and suffering for the people of Gaza and an ongoing humanitarian crisis. It is all too easy to ascribe the campus unrest over the past 7 months, and particularly these last few weeks, to legitimate concern for the plight of the Palestinians in Gaza and a desire for the fighting to cease. Maybe for some, and I believe it is for some, that is their motivation. But all too frequently, we have seen outrageous celebrations of terror, blatant anti-Semitism, and erasure of the legitimate right of Jews to live as a free people in their ancestral homeland. Throughout this challenging time, JCLP has provided its students a safe place, a group of fellow students, an alumni network, and a leader to whom they can turn for comfort, yes, but also for context and tools to confront the situation. It is a hallmark of this program and a great strength of Carla's leadership that JCLP students are taught and model skills to have difficult conversations across difference about issues facing the Jewish community, and there are always issues facing the Jewish community. When the world around us is polarized and people are pushed to take extreme positions, Carla and the JCLP program value and teach the importance of nuance, understanding, and context. We can and should acknowledge the pain of civilians in Gaza, even as our hearts break for our brothers and sisters in Israel. We can understand and even back the legitimate right of free speech for those who wish to protest and call for a ceasefire, while at the same time condemning the anti-Semitic language and campus disruption of the activists, and calling for the university to apply rules regarding expression equitably and fairly. We know that polarization and divisions exist and are growing within the Jewish community, certainly around the issue of Israel, but around other issues as well. I fully expect that Marie and Ben will put the education they've received through their coursework, their meaningful field placements, and maybe most importantly, through their pro-seminar discussions facilitated by Carla, to good use in their future roles in the community, helping those they lead and serve to explore challenges with nuance, context, and complexity, and to build bridges for a more inclusive and unified Jewish community. Now, a few words about these two remarkable people. I met Marie exactly a year ago, and I don't really know how she escaped my notice before then. I have come to appreciate her as a woman dedicated to her heritage, to all of her heritages, able to live comfortably with many identities and fight passionately when any of them are under attack. Her dismay around the disturbing rhetoric she has faced from fellow students is matched by her boldness and willingness to share her truth with anyone who will listen. I know the demands of this program, as articulated, and I am in awe of Marie's ability to juggle her studies with her adorably rambunctious family. Marie, I'm looking forward to continuing to work with you in the fight against anti-Semitism in our community and cannot wait to see what comes next for you. I have had the distinct pleasure of working with Ben over these past 2 years. In his first year, Ben had his field placement at the Jewish Federation of Greater Ann Arbor. What struck me straight away was that he always had questions. Some were mundane, but most made me dig deeply and think in new ways about our work. One thing I tell people all the time is I love people who ask good questions, and Ben asks good questions. He also has big ambitions, and it stated them also straight away, and has been intentional about finding experiences that will serve him in reaching his goals. Ben has continued to work with federations, supporting our development work, and serving on our board as a Ross Board Fellow. In each of his roles, he has been enthusiastic, hardworking, generous, congenial, and thoughtful team member. His qualities will serve him very well in his career, and I know he's going to do great things for the Jewish community. I'm exceptionally grateful that the Jewish Communal Leadership Program is in our community, and not just because I worked for the Drockler program many years ago. And I'm grateful that I have the opportunity to learn from Carla and her students year in and year out. Ben and Marie, may you take the experiences and learning from these past challenging months and your past 2 years into your next chapter to strengthen your communities and the Jewish people. And may that be the case for each of us. Or as we say in Hebrew, chazak chazak v'nit chazek. Be strong, and let us strengthen each other. Mazal tov, and go blue.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shayna. I just finished my first year in JCLP. Thank you. Abraham Joshua Heschel, a Jewish theologian and civil rights activist, once wrote, "The most urgent task is to destroy the myth that the accumulation of wealth and the achievement of comfort are the chief vocations of humanity." He goes on to say that we must insist life involves the satisfaction of a divine need for human justice and nobility. In my time with the Jewish Communal Leadership Program, that is what we have explored, ways we can bridge gaps within our society in truly authentic ways. As everyone mentioned, it was a challenging year, and luckily for the 5 of us in JCLP, we had each other. We also had Carla, our fearless leader. She helped us navigate while challenging and nurturing us. In a time where so many Jews have not felt seen, we had the unique opportunity to show up to seminar each week and truly be seen and heard by each other. JCLP has given me hope that we have the power to stand together, to embrace discomfort, and to find peace, all in the name of community and leadership. JCLP is, in the words of Sharon Brous, manifesting the fantasy of peace. Congratulations to Marie and Ben, and I can't wait to see where you guys go with everything.
Hello, my name's Max. I'm a first-year JCLP student, and I have the honor of talking about Ben right now. Ben, I can't talk about Ben without bringing up his note cards. Ben mentioned his note cards a while back, first semester, and he always talked about how he used these note cards in his professional workspace. So whenever he had a tidbit to pick up from a coworker, somebody he worked with, he would write it down. And every one of his coworkers or some people, staff members, he had a note card for. And this stuck with me because it really stuck with me throughout the whole year because it kept coming up. And I was impressed with his organizational thoroughness and his outgoing nature. That's what I wanted to say. Right when from the get-go of meeting Ben, I knew he was a good guy. I knew that he was friendly from our time during orientation last year. And then we would also often grab dinner after class or before class. There was one time we went to Jerusalem Garden during the first semester, and he told me about how he would seek out his supervisors and ask them how to fill out not how to fill out a job application, but he would seek out he would find the information he needed in a very intentional way. And I was very impressed with his devotedness. So that he always inspired me. He always inspired me with his methodologies. In the trip to Pittsburgh, he asked the best questions, like it was previously stated. He never failed to get our hosts to open up about their own experiences. And without Ben's questions, I don't know if we would have gotten, if it was just me on that trip, I don't know if I would have gotten as much out of it. That's for sure. Ben's been a good friend and support amidst the campus climate. It's been very helpful to have Ben to talk with and during class, outside of class, and that's been very amazing to have a good friend with. I have no doubt that after all the hard work you've invested into your degree, you will always find the jobs that are meaningful to you, as per all the hard work you put in. And I might try to adapt your note card system in my own place of work, but I know I won't need one to remember you, Ben. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dean Angel, for introducing us, and Dr. Brian Barzlai, Dr. Carla Goldman for putting this event together, and Megan Bernard. Thank you, Shayna and Max, for the introductions. I was slow to learn how to read when I was a child. One day, when I was in first grade, my mom was driving me home from school, and she explained to me, "Ben, you really need to learn how to read." Being the smart, cool, and collected 6-year-old that I was, I started explaining to my mom why I actually did not need to learn how to read. She and I went back and forth a few times until I said, "Mom, I don't need to learn how to read. I've lived my entire life without knowing how to read. Why would I need to start learning now?" I can't believe that same kid is standing here today, 18 years later, after earning his second master's degree, both from the #1 rated programs in the nation in their respective fields. When I came to Ann Arbor, it was the height of COVID. I had recently been evacuated from my study abroad program in Cape Town, South Africa, and I spent my entire senior year living at home in Madison, Wisconsin, and taking online classes. My senior year truly had some treasured moments because I was able to spend so much time with my family that we did not expect to have. Each night, gathering around the dinner table and sharing what I had learned in that day's classes was wonderful. But it was not the culmination of my undergraduate education that I had been expecting. Coming to Michigan for my Master of Management, I was excited for a new adventure on a new campus. I didn't know any of my classmates, and I had never taken a business class before. But that went on to be one of my favorite years of school I've ever experienced. It truly set the scene for what the next 2 years my MSW and JCLP experiences would look like. JCLP and the MSW were the programs that most solidified my interests in becoming a Jewish communal professional. Through these programs, I was able to intern at the Jewish Federation of Greater Ann Arbor and the Jewish United Fund of Metropolitan Chicago, and I worked part-time in the School of Social Work's Development Office, where I had the opportunity to raise resources for JCLP and support a program that has invested so much time, money, and effort into my professional journey. I also had the opportunity to work part-time and serve on the board of directors and a few other lay leader committees for the Jewish Federation of Greater Ann Arbor. Additionally, through JCLP, I was fortunate enough to tour the sites of Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, and Detroit, and meet the leaders of these communities' Jewish communal infrastructure. Each of these visits taught me about the value of relationships and coalition building, and the importance of truly believing in the mission of your organization. Without JCLP, I likely would not have published 2 articles, gained experience interviewing applicants who could become future students in JCLP, or built so many connections with people who have become mentors to me and part of my lifetime network. I don't know how else to say it, but thank you. Thank you for investing in me, for believing in me, and nurturing my growth as a social worker, a professional, a leader, and a human. Being a member of the Jewish Communal Leadership Program has been one of the single most impactful experiences of my life, and I don't know where I would be had I not decided to, in the words of my family, betray my Wisconsin roots and come to the University of Michigan. Go Blue. That little boy who knew that the ability to read was overrated has changed dramatically to become the man standing before you today. And there are a number of people I want to thank for helping me get here. First and foremost, Mom and Dad. Thank you for not succumbing to my superior logic at the time and ensuring that I did in fact learn how to read. It made reading the speech a lot easier. In all seriousness, though, thank you for pushing me when I needed to work harder, advising me when I needed your wisdom, and cheering me on when I had a bad day. None of this would have been possible if not for your support and your sacrifices. None of it. My brother, Sam, thank you for inspiring me to become a social worker, making me laugh until I'm out of breath, and being my best friend every step of my life. If not for you, I may not have ever recognized my full potential. Arlene and Chuck, you have also been with me every step of the way and taught me to embrace myself and be confident in who I am. Even when I may not have believed in myself, you always believed in me and supported me. Eileen and Rachel, The Jewish Federation of Greater Ann Arbor became a home away from home. Your mentorship and leadership are unmatched, and who knows what career path I would take if I had not had such incredible, unmatched experiences interning, working, and serving as a lay leader at the Federation. Thank you. Hala and Nancy, you gave me so many opportunities to learn and grow in a field in which I had never before worked. You believed in me since day one and constantly searched for ways to incorporate me into the team and into your projects. The experience, knowledge, and wisdom that you provided me is invaluable, and I'm a better fundraiser, professional, and social worker because of you. Now, to JCLP. Marie, it feels like we have been friends for more than a decade, and it's only been 2 years. We have been through so much together these past 2 years, and I'm so lucky to have you in my life. I can't wait to see where our careers take us. Max, you've taught me the value of listening and absorbing every piece of information that presents itself. Thank you for constantly reminding me why we have 2 ears and only 1 mouth. Julia, as frequently as we mess with each other, I'm so happy you're in the cohort. You always make me laugh and bring me down if my confidence is ever too high. Shayna, your positivity is radiant, and you always remind me to search for the bright side in every situation. Thank you so much for always offering support and optimism whenever we needed it. I can't wait to have you on all of my boards. Megan, you are the glue that makes JCLP work, the magic that lets everything happen. Thank you so much for all of your support, whether it be making reservations, planning itineraries, or helping us think through final details. JCLP would not be what it is without all that you do for us. Last and absolutely not least, Carla. Your passion, drive, excitement, and determination are unmatched. You have pushed me to maximize every opportunity that presents itself and found additional opportunities for me when I didn't find them myself. You constantly go out of your way to support your students through making connections, suggesting classes, field work, and jobs, and through bringing in some of the foremost Jewish leaders from across the country. I cannot thank you enough for all that you have done for me. I am forever grateful, and I cannot wait to supervise some of your future students. You have invested so much time and effort in me, and I'm so excited to begin supporting you in JCLP as a proud alumnus. And just like that, it's all over. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone who came to support Marie and me on our special day. It means so much to us. After 3 years in Ann Arbor, culminating in becoming national champions, go Blue. I am so proud to say that little boy is finally ready to take on the professional world and become a Jewish communal leader. Forever go Blue.
Hi, I'm Julia. I'm also a first-year student here with JCLP, and I'm not really sure how I'm supposed to follow Ben up, but don't let him know that because it wasn't that good. That's my job. I'm joking. So I get the honor and the privilege to introduce Marie, or I need my phone for this, Marie Elizabeth Claire Bernadette Angela Elizabeth Ann Elizabeth Aaliyah Abramo Schiavone, Moda O'Brien, Keeney, Shian, Toscano, Ayudi, Patti Patti, most commonly known as Marie. Marie has about 3 times as many names as anyone I've ever met before, and also 3 times as many strengths. Marie is, without a doubt, the most impressive, resilient, and kind person I have ever met. As echoed before, she is fiercely loyal and honest. She is not only a full-time student, but a mom of 4, a wife, a thoughtful friend, and a resource to each and every person that she meets, and also a teacher. I don't know if I said that. Marie is a superhero. So I want to try and explain, like, I'm not big on superhero movies, but when superheroes are ready to, like, take on their opponent and the pieces of their armor come together, with every step that Marie takes, she gets stronger. And with every new day, she adds a new piece of armor, and she always shows up. She's proud, she's present, she's positive, and I look up to Marie. I know without you, I would not have survived this year. She's taught me a lot about myself, and even more about the world around me. And to everyone who is just meeting her, you're really lucky, so welcome. This is Marie. Marie, I love you, and I am proud of you, and I can't wait to continue to see you grow in the future. Congratulations, Mazel Tov, and Kol HaKavod.
All right, well, that's a lot to follow, but I will try. Thank you, everyone, for being here. It's such an honor to be here and to have you here, and for all of your kind words. They're really, truly appreciated. I feel like my speech is, like, not as good as everyone else's, so I'm really sorry. But, like, I say it with great appreciation. JCLP, the Jewish Communal Leadership Program, surprised me in the best way possible. When I first signed up, I pictured some extra classes, weekly academic discussions, maybe some networking. Little did I know that JCLP would become so much more. Walking into the first meeting when I first met this year's cohort, I wasn't sure what to expect. But within weeks, this group of strangers quickly became my family. We were a space for each other, a space to laugh, to cry, celebrate, and to grieve. We shared our deepest thoughts and feelings, knowing we'd always be supported. My cohort became my lifeline, a constant source of encouragement just a text away, or maybe many texts. Our closeness fostered a regular flow of communication, often throughout the day. There's Julia, who I love, who understands me better than anyone, clever, sharp, able to cut through any nonsense with a wit that never falters. Yet beneath that sharp intellect, she's so strong, she feels emotions so deeply, and is always there for me with unwavering support. Shayna, whose very presence emanates spiritual depth and genuine nature, brings light to our group. She always makes space to remind us of empathy for ourselves and for others. I love all of you, by the way. Ben, always thoughtful, always ready with a question. I know everyone said that. To push our thinking further, never failing to show his genuine care for everyone around him. And I do want to second those note cards. They're awesome. He actually wrote down all the names of my children, their ages. He's so on point. Ben is definitely the person to watch. And I know you'll do amazing things. It's not even a question. Like, really, keep an eye on Ben. Max, quietly hilarious, ever thoughtful, with insightful observations, and always the best commentary. Carla, by sharing your personal stories and thoughts, and even inviting us into your home, fostering a deep emotional connection between all of us, and laying the groundwork for the strong sense of belonging that became the heart of our JCLP group. Megan, sometimes on the sidelines, but always there, waiting with insightful advice, ready to navigate us through programs, assignments, events, and any internal crisis that we are facing, with an open door and a sense of ease. Our trip to Pittsburgh was a turning point. Learning about the community resilience, their resilience through trauma, and how their community thrived despite hardship really connected with us in this moment and was incredibly inspiring. But the real highlight was the closeness that we developed sorry, I lost my spot, that we developed and built within our own JCLP group. Tears of laughter, shared services, hanging out together, walking, meals together. We really got to know each other, and I think moved from friends to family in that moment. This bond only grew stronger throughout the year as we leaned on each other for friendship, support, and personal growth. JCLP wasn't what I expected, and that's a wonderful thing. It gave me a community that will stay with me forever. It showed me the power of connection, the strength of shared experiences, and the importance of having a place to belong. Thank you for the unexpected impact you've had on my life and for welcoming me into your family. I love you all.
Oh, as longtime program manager Paige Walker reminded me this morning, you can just listen to this line, Paige. It seems like every year we're expressing amazement about all the things that have happened and how overwhelming they are in the world and at the University of Michigan. So why is this year different from all other years? Thank you, Paige. This year, of course, as has been mentioned many times, has been marked by events that have rocked our world and this campus in a way unprecedented for, I think, almost all of us in this room. The horrific events of October 7th, followed by the terrible and heavy toll of Israel's response, has destroyed thousands upon thousands of worlds in Israel and in Gaza. Meanwhile, the activist response on American campuses like Michigan has been reflected too often in a cascading animus against Israel that has been shocking, even, I think, for many in the Jewish community who have been very critical of Israel's policies on the West Bank, Gaza, and towards its Palestinian citizens. And it's not surprising that all of this has dominated our work this year. We had to pivot and roll and be together and respond to sort of an ever-changing situation, but one that was very difficult, as you've heard. And yet, again, as you've heard, we found ourselves in this really extremely fortunate place in the midst of all this. We've been able to lean not only on each other, not only on our teachers, you on your field and advisors and the people that you've worked with, also on really 40 to 50 communal professionals and leaders and alumni that we interacted with over the course of the year, which is pretty amazing if you think about it. I remember thinking, oh, this small group, do I dare ask people to talk to them? By the way, we'll be bigger next year. But this has been the right group for this year, and for us to have gone through all of this together. But all of those interactions with so many generous communal leaders, they came to us, they saw, as was said, they saw us, they understood, and challenged us in these varied interactions over the course of the year. And together, sort of with community and family, all of this support has helped us to respond to and learn from the demands of this very challenging moment. Not just to shut down our hearts and brains in a static defensive stance, as discouraging as this moment may be. It seems that we also have, in terms of the possibilities for a peaceful future in the Middle East, for respect and connection across differences in both the university, the Jewish community, and the country. Another theme of the year, and this is what I want to focus on for a little bit, is to take a moment to reflect upon some of the lessons of resilience and community with which we have been gifted this year. And it was already alluded to by Ben and Marie. One of the highlights was our trip to Pittsburgh in January. We, of course, prepared for that trip by learning about the terrible events that happened there, the synagogue shooting of October 27th, 2018. But we saw so much more there, and I remember we were walking sort of all agog through the Jewish Community Center in the heart of urban Squirrel Hill with its just retired step-down leader, Brian Schreiber. And as we were sort of amazed at the life and the diversity and the activities that we saw there, it also just occurred to me that think about what they have gone through over the last 6 years, what they have navigated, right? From that communal trauma, right from that in a way into sort of the COVID era, which is impossible for membership organizations like a JCC, and now into the world since October 7th. But what was so striking to us, I think, in Pittsburgh was the strength, beyond having a nice time, was the strength and cohesion that was bred of that tragic violence. And maybe the most important thing we learned about the community's immediate and resilient response to the crisis was that it was built upon a foundation that came from really the routine, often mundane work of community building, something that Jewish communal organizations and social work organizations do every single day. Someone before the trip had offhandedly, it seemed to me, suggested that, oh, it'd be nice if you could join the community, the Age Well Lunch program for seniors at the JCC. This is a program, a government-supported program for lunch for people over 60, 5 days a week at the JCC. It's part of a citywide program, and at the JCC it's kosher, and so it's the only one in the city that's actually prepared on site. And when we walked into that space, it was clear that this was not just sort of old Jewish people. It was a very diverse group in terms of background, religion, racial identities, class. And some of them let us into their conversations. Some were like, sort of jealous of their time with each other. We got a nice meal and a chance to interact. And also just see how that JCC is full of people that not only reflect just the urban neighborhood that it's in, Squirrel Hill, and its diversity, but it's actually right outside of the JCC is the second busiest bus stop in the city, perhaps because of the JCC, and it reflects the diversity of the city itself. As our visit continued through all these amazing organizations, we kept hearing about that program, Age Well, from the different institutional partners who cooperate to make it happen. It emerged that the work that they had done as different organizations to assemble that program, to get the space, to have the social work support, the kosher food preparation, and the logistics of running a complicated government program, was what created the relationships and trust that enabled the community on October 27th, 2018, to come together immediately and quickly and effectively organize themselves at that very afternoon at the JCC to respond to this unprecedented tragedy. In the end, with a foundation of strong Jewish response, it felt like Pittsburgh as a city faced this tragedy together, leaving the Jewish community with a stronger sense of itself and of the broader community and its role in that community of which it was a part. This is not to say that everything about their response was perfect, or that many Jewish communal leaders haven't felt themselves now cut off from erstwhile allies since October 7th. But it does show how, even in the wake of brutality and tragedy, leaders were able to draw upon their existing relationships and professionalism to support survivors, families, and their own community, while reaching out across differences to build a broader community of meaning and connection. We could see that resilience and those connections have continued to sustain them in the face of COVID and current challenges. So, we are also in the midst of current challenge on this campus, at a university that is supposed to be characterized by thoughtful discourse among varied perspectives. That's what it's supposed to be, but many of us feel ourselves at times overwhelmed by the domination of a very loud chorus that too often seems unwilling or unable to do justice to the complexity and depths of a generations-long conflict, or to acknowledge the terrible precipitating massacre that sent current events into motion. We all seem to be flummoxed about what to do in this situation, how to lead, how to learn, how to be present. We seem to lack the relationships we need, or the know-how, or the power needed to reduce the feeling of isolation and threat that many in the Jewish community are feeling. What do we have to draw upon to make meaning of this moment and see a brighter future? Well, actually, a lot. I mean, it's a tough moment, but we have a lot to draw on. For one, we have a tradition that impels us to empathy, to seeing the point of view of the disempowered and the alienated. The story of Passover, which we just moved through, which is focused on the liberation of the Israelites, interrupts that story 4 times to instruct them and us to remember the stranger. For you, says the text, were strangers in the land of Egypt. Remember the heart of the stranger. That's no small thing. Nor is it a small thing in our small world that the School of Social Work supports a program like this that offers such intensive support to our often bigger but always small group of students in this vast university. And it is no small thing that the students in the Jewish Communal Leadership Program embrace the demands and challenge that comes with the heavy load that they undertake and the privilege of being in this program. Finally, it is no small thing that when we get it right, and I'm so grateful that we have often gotten it right, that those students can emerge with a broader view of the possibilities of Jewish community within a pluralistic society. Indeed, one of the great privileges of my life, and no small thing, is my role in JCLP that gives me the really, I think, unheard of privilege of working closely with students over 2 academic years, whether in our weekly seminar, through advising, in our many experiences beyond the classroom, and also in the classes that I teach in Judaic studies. I really get to know and work with these students and get to watch as they're often inchoate questions about this work and themselves that they bring into the program begin to coalesce. And I get to see how each in their own way moves forward in critical thinking and firmer understandings of themselves and our communities, and in their personal and professional strengths and their career goals. So that's going to be, I think there is a theme of hope that we've heard today. So we're going to move into congratulating Ben and Marie. They have had this unusual experience of constituting this small but mighty cohort that's been referred to. They came in just as COVID seemed to be waning, and then this year entering this new post-October 7th era. And in this difficult time, they have made vast professional and personal strides. They've made an impact on their teachers, on the professionals and client organizations with which they worked, including the Shalom Hartman Institute, the Ann Arbor Federation, the Jewish United Fund of Chicago, the University of Michigan Development Team, and Marie's placement, which I forget the name of, but sounded amazing. What's that? HEAL. Sorry about that. And on the Jewish Communal Leadership Program. What they model to the students coming after them and with them. They have solidified their identification with and commitment to Jewish community. They have encountered a wide range of voices and leadership styles and viewpoints, and they have thought long and hard about the place of American Jews and American Jewish community and anti-Semitism in a pluralistic society. As challenging as that looks right now, on both the political right and political left, through it all, they modeled, you don't realize this sometimes, right, but showed that they are ready to help others navigate that space. You did it for your classmates, you'll do it for the communities that you move into. Okay, Marie, if you want to come up, and Megan. Marie, as you've heard, came into JCLP with, to put it mildly, a full plate, which she continued to pile on for the last 2 years. She completed 3 field placements. She only needed to do 2. She served as a graduate student instructor and even got to go on strike. She emerged as a strong voice in Ann Arbor's Jewish community. She supported her young children through today's complicated identity politics. And she's never stopped trying to reach out to fellow students, to implore them to recognize the complicated context of what is too often being portrayed as a simple moment of politics. She enacted and came to recognize her own innate and cultivated strengths as a social worker. I don't know, I think maybe you were surprised by that. Maybe. Working with men, trying to come to grips with and escape the toxic masculinity that led them to hurt women in their lives. And she has a much firmer grasp on what American Jewish identity and community mean to her. A few weeks ago, she installed an outdoor exhibit in front of the art gallery here on the theme of rape is not resistance, and thought a lot about sort of the violence of October 7th, and the ways in which sexual violence is not about sex, but about power and domination and control. And, you know, one of our traditions is to give our students books when they graduate, and so I often think about the books that I recommend to people over the course of their time here that they don't always get. And so this gives me an opportunity to say you should read it. So the first book we have for Marie is Against Our Will, Men, Women, and Rape. This is not a very cheery book, but it's a really important book in terms of this was the book that made the argument that rape is not about sex, but it's about power, and it's accompanying us throughout our history and how we have to begin to think about it. It's really the foundation for the ways people think about rape now. And it is part of American Jewish history. Susan Brown Miller was Jewish, was part of the feminist leadership that created the radical feminism of the late 60s and early 1970s. And this book is sort of foundational there. So, Marie.
Thank you.
But, of course, that's a little depressing, so I thought it was good, given our small but mighty group, to get something a little more cheery. And this is a new book by Shai Held called Judaism is About Love. And this, I think, is a perfect book for Marie because I think the reason she's here is that she understands that. And I recommend this book. It's in making an argument I've been trying to make for a long time. Judaism is about love.
I love this so much.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks, Carla.
And we have these beautiful graduation certificates. So why don't we let's do a picture right here.
Yeah, oh, thank you.
Great. Ben, as you've heard, graduates today. Finally finishing his joint degrees in both business and social work. This is what I would say about Ben, that contrary to the trends of the day, right? This is our countercultural work. Ben represents it. He did not seek any shortcuts on his way over 3 years to a double master's program and the demanding JCLP certificate. He has seen the strength of this course in preparing him to be a thoughtful and effective leader in Jewish communal spaces and embraced every opportunity that this course has offered and that he has identified along the way. He opened himself to conversations and voices that were hard for him, that challenged his own views. He matured in his analysis, in his sense of bringing himself to the work. And he contributed so much, as I said, to the JCLP, SSW, and AA. Those are acronyms, Jewish community. Ben plans to move to Chicago and continue to work and grow in the Jewish community work. So, after 7 long years of school, we thought he should read a novel. So we actually have 2 old books for Ben. The first is by Saul Bellow, The Adventures of Augie March. This is a kind of seamy novel. Actually, it won the National Book Award, so it's very respectable. I was going to bring in, I have this paperback version of it. I don't know if you saw it, Joey, on the table. It's sort of like lurid looking, so I don't know if it's appropriate, but it is about a young man coming of age in Chicago, and that's what we know that you will do. And, of course, another important part of American Jewish history, the rise of these writers, Saul Bellow and Philip Roth and Bernard Malamud, in really reshaping American literature. Significant in 1954 that it won the National Book Award, so that's your little bit of history there. We also have, as Ben said from the start, I am looking to be an executive in Jewish communal work. And he has not deviated from that, though the work he's been able to do has clarified that Federation work is really something that he's very interested in. So we got him another classic of Jewish communal life. This is a book by Albert Vorspan, who was a communal and social justice leader in the Jewish community and Reform Judaism, and reflections on working in the Jewish community, and the title alone earns its place today. Start Worrying, Details to Follow. An insider's irreverent but loving view of American Jewish life. Did I finish my thing? I think so. Yes. Congratulations, Ben.
Perfect.
So, this was a hard year. Fortunately, this is a wonderful morning. But these are hard days. And we are really blessed to be able to take a moment to celebrate these achievements and these people. We know we must work to make the spaces we inhabit, this university, this School of Social Work, this country, this world, this Jewish Communal Leadership Program, into spaces that offer possibility and hope and opportunity for encounter, for reflection, for stretching ourselves beyond our own horizons. These last few days, I've been thinking a lot about a powerful quote from the African-American feminist activist and writer Barbara Smith. In a sensitive essay entitled Between a Rock and a Hard Place, I don't know if you remember it, Ben, Smith reflected on racism in the Jewish community and anti-Semitism in the Black community, and concluded with these words: "We are certainly damaged people. The question is, finally, do we use that damage? How do we use that damage, that firsthand knowledge of oppression, to recognize each other, to do what work we can together, or do we use it to destroy?" We heard something similar yesterday from the School of Social Work graduation speaker. Sorry, I had her name here. Yes, sorry about that. Oh, no, here it is. Oh, sorry, I do have it. Joyce Dixon Haskett, who is works against human trafficking, does many other works, and who shared her stunning personal story with us and concluded with these words: "It's not what happens to us, but what we do with it that matters." My hope for Ben and Marie, and for all of us, is that we take the pain of this year, the experiencing of silence and hurt wherever we stand in this mess, the solidarity we found with each other, and the damage and empathy that has shaped our community and identities over generations, to do something with it in ways big and small, that we can go out and commence to do our part in mending this broken world. So thanks everyone for being here. We have tons of food and lovely people, so stick around and congratulate Ben and Marie and the rest of us. Thank you. Oh, sorry, and I thank you for, fortunately others thanked Megan, but I did not. But you all know what it takes to just arrive here and sit down. It's not as simple as it seems. Thank you, Megan, for everything you've done this year.